and Texas are on byes this week as they prepare for another edition of the Red River Rivalry, which is going to take place October 12th, 2:30, SEC on ABC. For purposes that you already know, it's a big deal for yours truly. But I was giving it some thought, right? Some more than a week out, that this game is one where Oklahoma should not feel as much pressure as it might in the past. And Texas will feel more pressure than it's felt in at least a decade, perhaps 2 decades, right? If we're really being honest about this. Taking it back to 2008, when that game really should have led to somebody else playing a national championship game, but we could talk about that in a different way, because the way I'm looking at this now is the Oklahoma team that Texas is going to face is not the Oklahoma team that I thought it was going to face when we began the season. At the start of the season, I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, both of these programs ought to feel good about their seasons and ought to be feel good about perhaps getting to the SEC championship game. Right now, it don't feel that way for Oklahoma. It don't feel that way. Nobody out there at wide receiver. Look, Oklahoma's passing attack right now feels like playing jackpot against Cthulhu. You're just not going to win as much as you would like to win with all them tentacles out there and nobody to catch the ball. That's one thing. Other thing is the run game, again, ain't much there. You know what I'm saying? It's like trying to run against Juggernaut, you know, as he's yelling, I'm the Juggernaut. And then, you know, it just ain't all that fun. The offense, at best, is a V8 that just won't quite turn over. Won't quite, and when you can finally get it turned over, all it does is misfire. I mean, you're changing out you changing out plugs, you changing out wires. You are trying to find out what the hell is going on, because as soon as you unlock the potential of this engine, hell, man, we're liable to run 10-second quarter miles here in something that was built feels like it was built in 1995. I would like to be in one of these electric cars, like what it seems that Texas got. Texas out there like a Cybertruck. I'm not going to say that because Cybertruck is ugly as hell. I hate looking at the car. It's an electric car. It's very fast. It's very quiet. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. And as I like to tell Georgia football players, as well as other people, every car in 2024 is fast, and electric cars are fastest. If you got a gas-powered vehicle like myself, I got a few, yeah, I'm here for the sound as much as anything else. I don't get nothing out of doing 1,000,000 miles an hour and hearing nothing. That's unsettling to me. I'm not in space. I'm on Earth. And you know what? I'm just as likely to go drop it into, man, my goodness, don't ever put me in a Formula One car, because I'm going to tear your up. It's going to be a religious experience. Anybody ever puts me in one of them cars. However, I'll get it done on an oval track. Drop me in a NASCAR. I got a stock car, I'll make it go. Drop me in one of these Indy cars, I'll make it go. That's what Steve Sarkisian's been doing at Texas. He has been slowly building the car that he thinks he needs to win. And my goodness, do they look clean and do they look fast, and they're going to be healthy. I think this is also a game where Quinn Ewers has to come out guns a-blazing. A, you are the starting quarterback at the University of Texas getting ready to play Oklahoma. That's it. B, you lost this game last year. C, Arch Manning is 2-0. Has he played nobody? Yeah, he played a bunch of nobody. He played half of UTSA, all of ULM, and all of Mississippi State, which is basically a Group of 5 program, but a little bit less than that because they got beat down by Toledo 41-17. You also want to see Quinn Ewers reinsert himself into the Heisman conversation, because when he's been out, so the stats ain't going to be there. He's going to be back 700 yards and probably 6 TDs to someone like Cam Ward, whose team is also undefeated as they get ready to play Cal in a conference game. And that's wild. Like, game day's going out to Berkeley. Okay, sure. But the Cam Ward experience is the Cam Ward experience. Let's see if the Quinn Ewers experience can be what it is against an Oklahoma defense that is good. I believe it's elite when it's playing the kind of football it's capable of playing. Just take a look at what they were doing against Tennessee. Tennessee won that game, but it wasn't like Tennessee was moving the ball with some level of efficiency, especially when they decided to run the football, because they knew if Nico Iamaleava started to put the ball in the air, might end up in the hands of an Oklahoma defender. If you don't believe me, just ask Kip Lewis about that pick six that he took back to the house against Peyton Thorne to seal the victory for Oklahoma on the road at Jordan-Hare. We also got dudes up front that can get after the quarterback. R. Mason Thomas is going to have a huge game against a Texas offensive line that is really, really good. You're also going to need to be able to run with wide receivers, and corner is not. I would very much enjoy seeing Jaden Blue trying to run against Oklahoma's defense. I'm not so enthusiastic about watching Jonte Cook and the homies running against Oklahoma's corners. We're great at safety. Great at linebacker. Great on the defensive line, particularly on the edge. But it's going to take more than that, because with the window dressing and the RPO concepts that they're running, they're going to put some stress on the back end. They're going to find ways to put Oklahoma in man-to-man, whether or not OU wants to be in man-to-man, but I hope there's ways to spill. I hope there's ways to force inside to help, because knowing where your leverages are for the cornerbacks for Oklahoma is just going to be paramount. And if that's what I spend my bye week doing, that's what I spend my bye week doing. We can't get beat over the top. We got to know where our leverage is. We got to have help. We need to make Texas defeat us running the football. And like every other defense in the world, you want to limit the explosive plays. But they're fast on the outside, and they got speed in the middle, and that offensive line has been really, really good for both Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. Sign of a great offensive line is it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is, as long as the quarterback knows how to run the offense. And that offensive line has just been doing its job. I think that Texas also needs to win this game more than Oklahoma needs to win this game, because right now only one of those programs is playing for a national championship this year. That's just it, man. Texas looks like the program best situated right now to defeat Alabama or Tennessee in an SEC championship game. Alabama already got past Georgia, and we saw how that went. That was an epic game. Texas got to get past Georgia, too. Georgia got to beat Texas, stay in the fight, but that's the next 2 weeks for Texas, is Oklahoma and Georgia. You lose to Oklahoma, you're back against the wall against Georgia at home. That's not where you want to be. You got to get a W that everybody expects you to get in a rivalry game that matters and that everybody's going to watch. Like, I always think that voters aren't watching enough football, because they end up watching games like this and they overinflate or underinflate the rankings based on what they were watching during the daytime, as opposed to the entire series of football that starts on Thursday nights and goes all the way until late into Sunday morning for some of us. I also know that whatever Texas does against Oklahoma is going to lead directly to how we think they should play against Georgia, right? So if you beat Oklahoma like they stole something, knowing what Alabama did to Georgia and knowing what Georgia's capable of in the second half, that's going to all feed in. Texas has an opportunity to go back and get that number one spot with another win against Georgia if they win against Oklahoma, I think. It just depends on margins of victory and that sort of thing. Also, what does Alabama do against Vanderbilt this weekend? And then Tennessee. But that also reminds me that this week is just going to be tough for all of us, dog. Like, this is one of the last really piss-poor weeks of college football that we are likely to see for some time. I'm not that fond of it, but we gonna make it work because we got football on, and I love watching football. But bye week, I mean, we got BYU on a bye, who's 5-0. Illinois is on a bye. Kansas State's on a bye. LSU's on a bye. Notre Dame's on a bye. OU's on a bye. Texas on a bye. Utah's on a bye. But, you know, our featured matchups are, like I said, Miami, Cal, Alabama, Vandy, Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, Auburn, Oregon, Michigan State, UNLV, Syracuse, Tennessee, Arkansas. It's not great. It's not great. But knowing that it's not great, knowing what October 12th is going to be just amazing, we'll make it do what it do. But going into this week, I think that Steve Sarkisian needs to continue to read his players the riot act, because Oklahoma would like nothing more than to jump up and take a bite out of Bevo and ruin any chance that they got of playing for a national championship, and I will be here to watch it.